be here presenting with the other presenters here, especially because some of them inspired me, such as Alec over here. So thank you for having me today. I'm going to share with you today a project started 3 years ago in 2 small communities just south of here, 30 minutes. The communities are called Meadow Lake and El Cerro Mission, and they're located east of Los Lunas, with about 5,000 people in each town, and referred to as the East Mesa of Valencia County. Many folks in Albuquerque have heard of these towns, but few ever end up visiting. And that's probably because the communities are located on roads that are not kept up very good, and they're dead-end roads too. And there are few services there, and there's only dollar stores and convenience stores. Folks in these communities love where they live though, because it is beautiful and peaceful, and with the most incredible sunsets in all of Rio Abajo that overlook the spiritual and cultural center, Tomei Hill. In 2016 and 17, community leaders led community meetings to discuss how to build more climate change resilient communities. During these meetings, people expressed concern for the lack of access to healthy foods, the lack of community cohesion in general, and they were especially concerned with the lack of opportunities locally for their kids and youth. Drug use and depression among the youth tend to be higher in this area, and the poverty rate is 50% or so. There was consensus that one of the best ways to build a stronger and more resilient community to climate change was for the area to produce more of its own food locally, and that this would also help the economy, and that these efforts should be emphasized working with the youth and kids especially. So from these meetings, the East Valencia Urban Gardens program began. Over the past 3 years, we've learned more what it means on the ground to address these concerns effectively, and how to best partner with other organizations to accomplish these shared goals. I have to read so I can remember. So the Urban Gardens program is currently led by Valencia Soil and Water Conservation District, who I work for, but there's multiple partnerships to complete the projects. The partners are the Valencia County Government, NMSU, Valencia County Extension Agency, Youth Development Incorporated, Valencia Community Gardens, Valencia Community Action Network, and Valencia Community Wellness Council, with many volunteers as well. Together we lead workshops, classes, teaching about various topics on how to start and maintain backyard gardens. We lead fun community events, and we have financial and technical assistance programs that support conservation projects related to growing food sustainably. And all of our activities are led in Spanish and English, because 60% of the families in this area speak Spanish as a first language at home. Lastly, we have 2 thriving community demonstration gardens in each of the communities located at their community centers. These gardens are the centers of activity of our program, because growing food on the East Mesa is challenging, and many people want to learn practices to become more successful. The East Mesa is not a traditional area for growing food in New Mexico. It is not located near a river or natural water sources. The soil is poor, and there are very high winds, and there is little shade from the hot sun. And irrigation comes from wells, so water conservation is vital for making gardening an economically viable option for folks there. In the 3 years, we have turned bare, compacted ground into centers of vibrancy at the community centers. There are shade trees growing, native plant, wind blocks, monarchs and bees, swarm pollinator plants, and the gardens are lush and full of fruit and veggies available to communities. The gardens were started by many diligent volunteers. The first year was very challenging, but that effort paid off, and now our soils are richer and hold water better, and we have learned practices to work with the challenging climate, not against it. One of the important choices we made in the garden is to grow food that is native or adapted to this environment and culturally important to the communities. So we grow blue corn and Mexican white elote, green chili, chili de árbol, habanero, poblano, chili colorado, amaranth, multiple squash, melon, and watermelon varieties, and dried beans like ojo de cabra. We also are starting fruit trees and shrubs, apple plums, jujube, grape, passion fruit, strawberries, goji berries, because this is what the community members want to learn about, and because these group plants will return each year on their own, and so that cuts down on our efforts. Since the first year, we received grants from the Conservation Fund, New Mexican Community Foundation, and funding accrued from the Youth Development Incorporated to start a youth program. This is now a thriving program at the center of what we do. We currently have 15 paid youth interns that tend both of the gardens for 6 months and learn everything from preparing the soil, planting seeds, maintaining, harvesting, and even selling the produce locally at a reduced rate for community members. All of the interns from 2018 returned for 2019, and 3 of the interns now want to pursue an agriculture-related field. That is what promoting a strong local food system looks like, by supporting the youth in the future of leading it. The youth serve as leaders in their communities now, demonstrating how to grow food sustainably. In 2018, the youth interns harvested over 2,000 pounds of produce, and this year we plan to beat that number. The East Valencia Urban Gardens program is only on its 3rd year, and we're still pretty small, but we have already reached hundreds of community members through events, classes, garden programs, and community partnerships. The community has shown up to support this effort each year as it grows and becomes more established and better meets the wishes of the community. We're developing a youth board with a youth internship program as the center, and we plan to expand the community demonstration gardens with more interns and more community activities, promote youth to leadership positions, and connect these young farmers to opportunities and resources locally. The youth are literally the seeds of our future for our communities, and we are learning each year how to best support them to cultivate their crops and their dreams. Thanks for having me today.
Hearts that all may be refuge. Open our eyes that all may see the wonders of the sky.